Kelly here, and I am back with another video for Create a Smile, and we are smack dab in the middle of our December 2015 release, and this is one of the sets. It's called Lovely Critters, and they are completely adorable. I'm also going to be using Wild Waters, which is, if you're watching in December of 2015, it's being discontinued, so if you want it, you better go get it. So we're going to do a fun little background here using Distress Ink, Abandoned Coral, Picked Raspberry, and Wilted Violet. And this release really lends itself to Valentine's Day. So I wanted there to be some fun, I guess Valentine's Day like colors. So I'm just using a flat wide brush, and I am putting down clear water. And I had originally thought that I was going to have the card oriented so that it would be at the top, but then I ended up liking it better at the bottom. So here I'm just picking up some color, just with some water, and putting that down in like blocks. And I'm trying not to be really particular about my edges or where my edges go. It's hard though, like when you're just putting down the clear water, it's hard not to just paint like a block. So I wanted it to be a little bit more vivid, and I wanted the colors to work together a little more. So I'm going back in and adding more. I'm rinsing my brush in between, so that way the colors stay true. And you can tell, like from when I put my ink pads down, that I really need to ink that picked raspberry. Here, the color was not moving together, so I decided to kind of like play with the paper, and it got crazy. That abandoned coral just ran completely wild, and I was like, what did I just do? So I'm trying to like sap up some of the edges, and now I'm going to go back in and try to salvage some of that picked raspberry because it seems to have all disappeared underneath the abandoned coral. So I try a couple of different times putting the more color in, and eventually I just decide I'm going to have to dry it and layer it. So there was a ton of water on my paper, so I started drying it, and you can see it left like that mark in the middle because that's where all the water was pooling. So now I'm just going to go in. I'm not using near as much water, and I'm putting down even more pigment. I'm putting down more of that picked raspberry because, like I said, I was a bit lazy and I have not re-inked it. So I'm just layering on that color, and I really love how that middle is starting to turn. The picked raspberry is like a hot pink, and it's starting to turn like magenta. So here's I'm going to be Christina Warner, and I completely was too lazy to get my mini mister, so I just dumped some water in my hand, and then it's like I spilled a glass of water on my background. Like, legitimately, look at how big that puddle is. But I'm like, whatevs. I'm working with it. It's going to be fine. We'll just add more color or less color or whatever, like just embrace it. It is what it is. Watercolor isn't meant to be perfect. So I dried that down, and then I decided I wanted some more variation. I wanted a few little splatters so that it made sense. So I added those with my paintbrush, and then I dried that down again. So at least it looked like, I didn't dump a glass of water on my paintbrush, dear God, on my background. So here I wanted to include the Wild Waters, and I thought that it would be a fun little texture to add to the background. So I'm just kind of like swiping them on. I started with the abandoned coral, then the picked raspberry, and then the wilted violet. And the reason I have it laying next to my piece is because I want to see how far I needed to go down to make sure that it was covered. I'm going to spritz that with some water because after that first debacle, I decided I should probably get up off my lazy booty and actually get my water mister. I'm going to clean up that stamp, and then I stamped it down, and immediately I hated it. Like, bam, hate. Like, what did I just do? So now I'm like looking at it. I'm trying to see, like, can I dab up these edges? What did I just do to this? But like I told you before, we're rolling with this. This is not happening again. We're not doing a do-over. We're salvaging what we've got. So I'm taking some water, and I'm trying to soften out those edges so that it wasn't just such a hard edge stamp line. And I'm going to do some more spatters, and then blot up what I can of the color, and I'm going to go back in with more water, move it around a little bit. I'm just trying to make it work at this point, ladies and gents, just trying to make it work. Drying it down, and then once I dried it down, I realized that like all of the edges were blurry, but the middle was not, so I needed to add more water in there so it didn't look just weird. And then this is where I decided that I was going to orient it with the coloring on the bottom. And so I'm kind of spreading that out a little bit. So like I talked about in the beginning, it wouldn't be just like a block. How about I say like one more time? Holy Lord. Dried that down, and then I am done with the background. We're going to move on to the Copic coloring. And this is, I decided that I was going to go with more of a golden color for the lion because I thought that that golden yellow would be really pretty with the red and pink and purple, and he would kind of like pop off from that. So the colors that I picked are a little different. The lightest color is an E50, and then a Y21, and then a YR24, and my darkest is an E99. So don't be afraid to mix your color families to get whatever it is that whatever color combination that you're going for. So I always start with my lightest color, which you already saw me do, and I use light flicking motions. You just want to use the tip of your marker and flick. For me, it's most comfortable to flick away from myself. That's why you'll see me constantly turning my image. But you do whatever's comfortable for you. If it's more comfortable for you to flick towards yourself, then do that. And I'm just going around his little mane, and I'm not being really careful about my blending because it's a mane, like it's a lion mane. So you're going to have, that variation where the lines are. You want it to have a little bit of texture. And I'm trying to figure out here exactly where I'm going to put my shading for his little lion body. And so I decide that I'm going to do it almost like it was like the light was coming from just like above, I guess. Like his little mane would cast a shadow, and then where his legs are tucked underneath. And then this is my darkest color, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm, just doing the little light flicks of color, and I'm doing it all over what's already been there, not being very careful to blend, especially on that mane part, because I want it to look like, is it fur or hair? What is it, do you think? Is it hair? A lion mane? I don't know. Maybe I should Google that before I did my video, but I didn't. So you call it whatever you want to call it. A fur hair mane. Whatever that is. Anyway, that's what we're coloring. So I go from lightest to darkest and then darkest back out to lightest. And then on the body, I'm being more careful to blend. And I didn't really add any E99 to his body because I wanted it to be lighter. So I really only added it in the darkest parts. Once I went back over with my E50, I felt like that mane really got too blended. So I'm doing it again. I'm just going back over everything with the Y21, the YR24, and the E99, like anywhere I had put it before. And I'm not going to go back over it with the E50 this time. I'm just going to do the little soft strokes to keep that texture, especially in the mane portion. And I just think it's so cute. His little heart mane is just absolutely adorable. I couldn't decide between him or the turtle when I was making the card, but I figured that I'll be able to use the turtle at a later date. So I'm adding a bit of pink to his ears with RV02, and then I'm blending that out with the E50. And somebody had mentioned in one of the videos, I always outline, so that's what I'm doing. I'm re-outlining. But somebody had mentioned in a comment on one of my videos that they wanted to see me fussy cut an image. So since he's so tiny, I left him in here. And I always start with, if I hadn't already trimmed that image down, like to a square, if it was on a big sheet, I would have trimmed it down because those outside pieces can really tug on your paper. And then I keep my scissors at straight and I move the paper. And it's especially important when it comes to like little pieces like the tail, because they are so delicate. That's a good word. They're so delicate that you just want to make sure you're not, scrunching them up with the scissors and getting that, paper that's going to be pulling on it, because that's what gives you jaggedy lines. You don't want jaggedy lines. So after he's all trimmed out and good to go, I'm going to do the edges with a Memento Tuxedo black marker. I can never say that correctly. But I'm going to do it, and I flip my image over because I have a tendency to move very quickly because I'm impatient, and then sometimes I slip. Like you could see on that one side of the mane, I totally did, and if it had been on the front side of my image, he'd have a big black beauty mark that I would have to do something with. So I had gotten a package from my friend Jill. She had sent me a little Christmas gift, which was so generous of her. But she had it so beautifully wrapped with like a glittery snowflake, and this silver thread. And I'm like, I'm upcycling this, yo. I'm not throwing it away. I'm keeping it. So it made it onto my card here. So I just kind of gathered it in the background. And here, so like I gathered it and I'm trying to hold it, and then I'm trying to pull off the backing paper with one hand. I'm not really sure why I felt like I needed to hold it. It was going to fly away or something. I'm not sure. Whatever. It didn't want to work out anyway because then I had to reassemble it anyhow. So I'm going to use that foam tape to not only adhere down my lion, but also to keep that silver thread in place. And I love the way that it looks. I think it's super cute for a little Valentine. And then I'm going to trim off any excess that I don't like or tuck it behind. I felt like I wanted more of the silver underneath his little bottom. So that's why I decided to tuck that second piece behind. And then I'm going to add on my sentiment with foam adhesive as well. It says, "You're so lovely." And then in order to, what did I do next? I think I did the sequins. Yeah, I did some silver sequins, just a couple of those just to fill in that little area. And then I added some clear Wink of Stella just to that gorgeous mane hair fur of his. So I added just a little Wink of Stella to that. And then I'm just going to put it on a plain white card base. This little Teflon Bold folder, I'm sure you probably heard me say before, was also included in the gift from Jill, which was super nice of her. Crafty people are the best, I swear. They're like some of the best people I know. And Tembo Mono Multi Glue, just going to smush that down. I did end up putting it underneath a book because it was quite warped. I probably could have ran it through my Cuttlebug. That probably would have been the best plan, but I didn't think about it before I adhered everything down. I added a little bit more Tembo Mono Multi Glue behind the lion just to make sure that he was going to stay put. And then that is the completed card. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you will hop over to the Create a Smile blog and check out the rest of the release. It really is totally adorable. It's been a long time since I was excited for Valentine's Day, but these cuties kind of make me want to buy stuff. So I will catch you guys later. Bye.